Hi, it's Belle. I wanted to show you this new little toy that I got, which is a Jibun Techo. I put a few pictures of it on Instagram, and some people have been asking about it because it's not like a Hobonichi. You don't see them everywhere. So I wanted to explain a little bit about what it's like for anyone who's kind of curious or thinking about getting one. And I've got here, just for a comparison, I've got Hobonichi Techo Cousin Avec. So this is the second half book. This is the one that the cousin is the A5 size. This is the book that comes in 2 booklets. So this is just half a year's size. And I just wanted to compare it to this because I happen to have this on hand, and this is the planner I've been using. I've only used it for about a month. I think I got it at the start of October-ish. I got it to try because I also got the full set, the 2 books, the full Avec set of the A5 cousin for 2017. And so at the same time, I got this second half book because it was coming up to October. So I obviously don't need the full set, but I wanted to try it out and make sure I liked it before touching the 2017 one in case I wanted to sell or give away the 2017 one. So this is the main planner I've been using, and I've had this in my A5 Roterfaden leather cover, where I also have a really big chunky crossfield, 7 Seas crossfield, which I use for my journal. So it's kind of made me feel a bit like this is a chunky planner, and it's really not. You can see how thin it is. It's not very heavy, but because it's A5, which feels quite big if you have it kind of open, fully open, and because it's been in my Roterfaden, which has the crossfield, which is heavy and chunky, and then the leather cover itself is a bit heavy, it's kind of made me feel like this is heavy, which it's not really. But having an A5, I would always keep it in the Roterfaden because it makes the most sense for me. I don't want to have it separate in another cover. So I would have to have a different size, I think, to keep the Techo, the Hobonichi, sorry, by itself or with a smaller notebook and a smaller cover. So yeah, I've been thinking about having the A6 Avec maybe and putting it in my regular size traveler's notebook. But then this showed up, and I kind of bought this. I thought about it for a little while, but I probably pulled the trigger a bit too quick. And since I bought it, and while I've been waiting for it to arrive, I've been thinking about getting the Hobonichi A6, and now I think, I probably don't need it. This is probably going to be fun. Anyway, so I'll quickly show you a bit of how I've been using this one so you know what we're comparing to. So one of the things I really like about this, which I'll be sad to lose, is this page at the start of every month, which I talked about in the flip through of my Hobonichi, where I put all my goals for the month. And then for the main pages, here's what it generally looks like. I try to do long to-do lists like this because I'm a procrastinator. So the longer the list, the more I'll get done, because when I'm not working on things I should be doing, I'll do other things. But if I have a short list like this, or nothing, I just spend my time doing nothing. So I've been trying to do long lists like this. You can see that there are gaps here. I've spread them out so they're easier to read. It's nice that they're easy to read, but I can also tell that in an A6, which is half this size, about there, I'd have enough room to fit them in. But here's an example of a really long one. This one went so long that I filled it up and had to go back in between. And here are some really long ones. This is what I've been doing lately. So I definitely need lots of room to write big lists. So that's what that looks like. And then the monthly section is there. So that's November, but we've just finished October. So there's October. I don't use heaps of space, but I do use quite a bit of space on the Sundays to write in freelance stuff I'm working on. So I definitely need enough room there, and that I wasn't sure if the A6 would have enough room there. I still don't know. So the 2017 one also has a weekly section, which this one doesn't have. So it's a bit thicker, and it's got a vertical week. So kind of one column per day, all the way across a double page spread. So there's kind of a big section there. So with the 2017 one that I have, I'm thinking about maybe using it as a journal. I know lots of people do that. And I have the 7 Seas crossfield, which isn't dated. It's just plain Tomo River paper, and it's really nice. But because it's undated, I can stop it and come back to it. So I thought maybe I'll use up the Cousin Avec next year as a daily journal, because I haven't done that for a long time, if ever. Just writing 1 page per day. I kind of like that idea, and I kind of write about a page per day now in my journal. depending on what's happening. But it does mean that I had a look this morning, and you can see in this one, the daily pages only start here. So if I used it as a journal, I'd be using kind of this much of it, and there's a section there that I wouldn't use with all the monthlies. But in the new one where there's a weekly section as well, there's quite a bit, so it's kind of like more like this much of it that I wouldn't use. So I don't know, I'm still deciding. I might end up selling it. Anyway, let's look at this one. I'm thinking I'll probably keep this and stick with it. But anyway, let's have a look. So it just says 2017 here. It's really, really basic. I got this one on eBay. It was actually quite hard to track down because I don't speak Japanese and the site's all in Japanese, and I couldn't really find anyone selling them here in Australia, or even Amazon or anywhere like that. So I ended up finding it on eBay. I paid a little bit more because I really wanted the nice yellow cover, but there are slightly cheaper ones with just white. So it comes in two different types. This one's just the diary only. So it came with one book, which is the diary planner section, and this plastic cover over it, the clear cover. But you can also get a 3-in-1 set where you get this and you get, so you get the diary and you get these two other books, an idea book, which is just notes, and then a life book, which is kind of, I don't know, stuff like anniversaries and milestones of your life, and maybe like personal, I don't know, weight and height, or I don't know, stuff like that. The idea is that the life book goes with you every year, and you get new idea notes books, and you get new diary books, and you keep the life book. But I don't need that. Oh, there's family tree, stuff like that. I wasn't interested in that, so I didn't want it. So I just got the diary, and then I separately bought this idea book, which is just plain notes. So this is Tomo River paper as well, just like the Hobonichi. And I assume it's 52 GSM because it's really thin and it's white. It's not cream. Yeah, so they did have some cute covers, some kind of like coloured checks and coloured spots and that kind of thing, but they were all sold out on the official site when I looked, and I couldn't find any of those on eBay. I only found the clear ones, so I don't know if they're kind of coming soon and they're not out yet, or they actually sold out. But the clear cover in this is really cool. So I've never had a Hobonichi cover because I already had a couple of traveler's notebooks and my Rotofaden, so I didn't want to buy any new covers. I didn't want to have to carry around a separate Hobonichi inner cover. I wanted to put it in something else. So anyone who has a Hobonichi with a cover probably thinks this is no big deal, but I found this quite cool. So the clear cover has this big pocket here, and it has this one here where you can see I've put a couple of letters that are waiting to be mailed. So that's that one there, and this one on the front goes here. Oh, that's a bit of a tight fit. Don't know what you'd put in there. Yeah, it's quite tight. Anyway, I think that's kind of cool. I don't know that I'd want to carry anything on the front, but I think it's cool for this kind of thing where I need to keep it nearby. And it also has, so I'll pull this out so we can just look at this. It also has these, it's got a pocket in here, and it's got these little kind of credit card size pockets. So I've just got some little book darts there. They're good for, I guess, stickers and that kind of stuff. I've got some little magnetic bookmarks and little sticky notes here. So there's another 3 of those business card size ones there, and then there's another one of these big ones down here. So the point of these ones is you get this idea book, which is just very, very thin, and it's just plain notes pages, and it has these little squares right here where you can put page numbers, I suppose, some kind of indexing. So that's pretty cool. And there's kind of no end covers or anything. It's just nice Tomo River paper. So there's the idea book, and then there's the life book, and the dimensions are the same. So this is, sorry, I should have said this is A5 slim. So if we look at the Hobonichi Cousin, which is A5, this one inside the cover, that is, but the clear cover doesn't add too much. You can see there's a little bit of difference there in the width. In the height, I mean, you can see it should be the same. It might be a little bit taller, but you can see that the clear cover, sorry, you can see the clear cover adds a little bit extra height there. So it should be about the same, but yeah, it might be slightly taller, which is weird because it's supposed to be A5, which is an international standard size. But anyway, and then in terms of the thickness, so again, the cover kind of makes it a bit hard to tell, but if I push the cover tight, you can see they're pretty comparable, I think. Anyway, so that's that one. So what happens with these two books, so you would have a life book and an idea book. I only have the idea. I got a 2-pack of these. And you can get these from, you might have seen these before, you can get them from Nanami Paper, I think they're called, the people who sell the 7 Seas notebooks. They also sell these in both sizes. So actually the Jibun comes in a smaller size. It's either B6 or B6 Slim, and it's called a mini, Jibun Techo mini. And then this is just the, I don't know, normal size, so which is an A5 Slim. So I got these A5 Slim ones. So what you do with these is you open the cover and the cover slips in here. It's a pretty snug fit, but that's good, I guess, because you don't want it to come out. And then it kind of lives in there like that. So you have your notebook in there for writing, and then flip over to here, and here's your diary. And so then you would put your life book, I guess, in the back, or vice versa, however you want. I could put another idea book in there because I have a set of 2, but I don't know that I need that. So even with that in there, it's still quite slim, I think. So if we look at this one again, there's the comparison from the top with the idea book and the diary, and then from the side. So yeah, pretty similar, especially considering this one's going to be, the Hobonichi is going to be slightly thicker, sorry, next year, because it's got the added section of weekly pages. Yeah, so in the diary, let's have a look at that. So just like the Hobonichi, it comes with a whole bunch of stuff in Japanese at the front and the back, kind of filler pages that I don't think are interesting. This is really interesting. This is an example page of how to fill it out. Again, it's mostly in Japanese, so I can't read it. But I think it's interesting that it comes with that it shows you how to fill it out. So that's what the main pages look like. So this one does not have day to a page, whereas most of the Hobonichis do. The closest comparison for this would be the Hobonichi Weeks, which is I don't have one to show you, but it's the really thin one. It's about kind of that's there. Like closer to a traveler's notebook insert, if you know how big they are, but slightly smaller even than those. And it has monthly and weekly pages, but no day per page. So that's what this is like. So yeah, there's an example. There are some yearly calendars. And so you'll notice that there's some Japanese in this one, but all of these dates are written in English, whereas in the Hobonichi you tend to get stuff written in Japanese and English, which is fine. I don't mind it. But it's interesting to note, so let's get rid of that. If we look at these pages here, for instance, you've got English and Japanese for all of these dates, if you can see that. And the same on the monthly pages, you've got Japanese here, and then you've got English as well, which I don't mind. It's not a problem for me. I just think it's interesting. The Jibun is more English here. So then this kind of yearly overview section, age chart, my dreams, you can write down your dreams. I don't know what sections these are. I don't know what that stuff says, but this is the kind of stuff I find this just to be filler. I don't think it's interesting, but obviously some people do, or they wouldn't include it. A money plan. So I think this is closer to the kind of stuff you'd find in the life book that I didn't want to include. This kind of stuff where it's not like a day-to-day thing. It's more of an overall collecting memories or information about yourself. And this one, I think it's to look up, you can look up the year someone was born and see how old they are now, which is interesting. I don't think I'd ever use that, but it's interesting. And then this, yeah, so this is the same layout as the main pages in the Jibun Techo, the main weekly page. So it's a vertical weekly. So it's quite similar to the weekly that you get in the Hobonichi Cousin. But this one, I assume it just says weekly plan here, and it's not actually part of the whole, it's part of these kind of front filler pages. So I think this is probably for you to write down kind of your ongoing schedule that won't change every week. I don't know. I haven't used it yet. There's a map of Japan. Favorite phrases, a whole bunch of random stuff. Recommendations, book list, movie list. You can do little ratings if that's something you want to do. Gifts received, gifts given. So actually, there's not much information about these around. I've had to look really hard to find any videos or blog posts about them, and I haven't found much. But I did find one video of a guy who was using a traveler's notebook, a Midori traveler's notebook, and it didn't work for him. And he was kind of doing a bullet journal style thing. And what he really liked about it was stuff like this that he would do in his bullet journal. I don't know if he did favorite phrases, but you know, stuff like writing a list of books you've read and rating it. That's a really common collection for bullet journalists. And movie list and rating that. Maybe recommendations, like people say, check out this, I don't know, recipe, or check out this restaurant or something. That's the kind of thing people often do in their bullet journals. So he really liked that a lot of this was built in. And the same with on the weekly page, there's some stuff kind of down here and up here, like weather and your mood for the day. And I'm not interested in any of that, but as he was saying, he'd been writing that in his bullet journal every day. So it's really cool for him to have that built in. I don't know what this promise list is, but apparently it needs 3 pages, unless that's I don't know, I guess that's a spare page. Anyway, okay, we're finally up to the planner. So there's this monthly section, so it starts in November. So actually today is the 1st of November when I'm filming this, so it starts today. I got this yesterday, and the actual weekly pages, because today's a Tuesday, started on the Monday of this week, which was yesterday, the day I got it. So that was kind of cool. I don't know what you do here apart from maybe tracking habits. Like you could put 1 habit per section here and then tick it off each day along the month, and if you have a bunch you can tick them off. I don't know what else you would use it for. So anyway, I'm not doing that because I don't need it. But that's what that section looks like. So this goes right up until there's December 2017, and then 2018 April is where that ends. So you get a bit of crossover there. Then we get to the monthlies. So this starts in November, which is now, so that's kind of handy because I don't have any blank sections. I've been able to use it straight away. And I've pretty much filled in all my appointments here. So you've got some little calendars here, so you can see the previous month and the month ahead while you're looking and making appointments. Each of these days has a little mood icon here, a kind of neutral, sad and happy face. So I guess you can kind of tick which one you are if you want to track that on here. And it's got tasks down here and tasks across the bottom. So these, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but these little check boxes kind of they have a very faint little cross in them. And then they have kind of a darker box around them. And I saw maybe, I don't know, maybe an example page, or maybe on the official website for this, but I saw that the idea is that you draw around the boxes like I've done here and then cross through them when you're done. So you draw around the boxes you're using. So that's kind of what I've done there. I don't know if I'll keep doing it that way, because they're kind of obvious enough anyway, because they're a bit darker than the rest. So let's have a look at the Hobonichi monthly and compare the size you get. So clearly, like, here's the pages side by side. I wonder if I can bend this. There we go. Get a bit of a closer representation. So I don't know how much you can tell, but Hobonichi is slightly wider. And the boxes are probably, they're pretty close. They're maybe slightly wider. It looks like maybe the grid is just very slightly bigger in the Hobonichi, but it's not a huge difference, so it's not enough that I feel like, oh, I've gone down a size. There's no room. So that's kind of cool. And it's also a bit more, I think, it's a bit more colourful. In the Jibun, you can see that the Hobonichi is a bit more plain. I think there's enough colour to make it interesting, but it's not kind of in your face, whereas this feels quite busy because you have, so you can see there's some, you've got the smiley faces, the little mood icons, but then there's also some Japanese written next to those as well. And I don't know what that's for, but, and then there's sometimes some Japanese written across the bottom, maybe for public holidays or something, but it gets quite busy, I think. So compared to the Hobonichi, which is a bit more plain. So I don't know that I like how busy this one is. It's not terrible. I just think I prefer the Hobonichi because it's a bit more plain. So, oh, you get also 2 ribbon bookmarks here. So I've got one on the month there. I don't know that I'll keep using them because they're a bit too close together to be useful. It's hard to grab the one you want. I might just use them both on one page and use some other kind of bookmark for the weekly page, current week. So this goes up to 2018 March 2018 is where that one goes up to. So actually the weeklies start right here, which started on the 31st of October there. So this is a good chance to show you the Tomoe River paper and the show through, or ghosting I think it's called, of my fountain pens. So if I lift that up, you might be able to see a bit better. There's not really very much show through. I'm pretty happy with that. The Hobonichi I think is just about as good. If I can find one where I've used it, I'll show you the difference. So, I mean, here's one where I've written down here on the other page, and it's not, I mean, it's pretty comparable, I think. If you look at this, I can quite easily use this page and not worry about what's showing through. And in fact, actually, some of that show through is this one. So if we go to where it's the last page I've used, here's a good example because I wrote a lot. There's quite a bit there, but it's not really an issue. And on this one, where I haven't used the page behind, sorry, I've used the back of this page, but not the page under it is blank. So you can see there's some show through up here in this corner, but it's fine. It's totally usable. So anyway, they're pretty comparable, I think, in terms of the show through. I don't think that's a big issue. But, you know, it might bother you. It's very thin Tomoe River paper, so not everyone will like it. Okay, the weekly. Let's look at a blank one. Here we go. Now this, again, is a bit busy. So there's no weekly pages in this particular cousin for me to show you. You've probably seen them anyway. Most people have seen them because lots of people show them. They're only in the proper full year cousin until next year, and then they're in the Avec half books as well. But anyway, here's a daily page for comparison. So Hobonichi does a color code for each month. So if I go to December, December's all pinky orange, and November's all green, which is nice because you get some color, but there's not lots of different colors. There's just one. And so there's some Japanese down here with the quotes and the calendar, and a bit up here with the date. But the main part is fairly simple and clean, I think. There's not a lot going on there, even with the timeline. Whereas this one, I would say, is a bit busy because it's got lots of different colors, and you can see there are lots of circles, there are lots of darker lines here. There's all kinds of stuff going on down here and up here. So it's definitely more busy, which I don't love. But that's okay. I'm just trying it out. So what you have here is a timeline. So what they've done is, you can see it goes from 0 right down to 6, and those are all compressed. And then starting from 7, you get a double the amount of time, space for each hour, down to 4 p.m, 16 there. And then you still got double the amount of time until midnight, I guess, because they think you'd be planning whatever you're doing all night. But it's gone dark to show that it's nighttime, and I guess this is dark to show you're asleep, probably. It's nighttime, and then these are kind of open circles to show that it's daytime. So these are all grey, and then Saturday is blue, and Sunday is an orangey colour, just to differentiate them, but they have the same amount of space, if that matters to you. And then across the top here is some weather icons. Some weather icons. So you can just tick, or I don't know, colour in or circle whichever one it was for the day, if that matters to you. And a little section to write what you want here. So there are some explainer kind of example pictures, just like the one at the start on the official website, that tell you how to use all these different sections, like what you should write in here. I don't know, maybe you should write the temperature, but of course, because it's all in Japanese, I don't actually know what it says. So here, for example, there are lots of examples to say, you know, here's what you should be writing in this section under the weather, and here you can tick what the weather was each day.